Welcome to the Path to Purpose interview show, where we share our unique and universal stories about finding and fulfilling our purpose. My name is Katja, and I'm your host and mentor for purpose-driven entrepreneurs. My intention for this show is to inspire you on your path to purpose. Today, I have a pleasure to interview my friend, Jonas Goldt, who is an automation alchemist and a chatbot funnel consultant. As a multifaceted psychologist specialized in human-computer interaction, Jonas focuses on cutting-edge entrepreneurships and authentic automation. It is his mission to help service-driven entrepreneurs implement the systems they need to fully express themselves and change the world. Let's find out more about his path, and I will also ask his best tips how you can get started with authentic automation. So let's get started here. So welcome, Jonas. I'm so excited you are here.
Yeah, hi, Katja. Thank you. Thank you for welcoming me.
And could you please tell us a little bit more about you? I just briefly introduced you, and also share where you are located so we can put you on the map.
Yeah, so I'm in the middle of Berlin, actually, like in the middle, like in the center of Berlin, Germany. And yeah, in your intro, you already talked about that I am a psychologist turned entrepreneur. And I would just like to talk about this just a bit, because this might be interesting for many people, because I don't have like a typical straight way in my life, but also even my entrepreneurial way is just like very, like, let's call it like a spiral. Mm-hmm. And yeah, actually I started my entrepreneurial journey just right after my studies, and I co-founded a health and wellness startup. I think it was like 6 years ago. And what we actually did was we wanted to create an assistance system for elderly people, so that they could live longer at home. And we actually also got a scholarship for academic founders here in my old university. But in the end, so we worked on this project for a few years, but it did not work out in the end. And what was hard for me was actually to admit that it didn't work. So I needed a very long time to actually admit to myself that it didn't work. But in the end, it was a huge device for learning and personal growth for myself. And funny thing is, even though it was kind of stressful and it kind of failed, I somehow realized that I'm kind of made. I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to have my own business, self-employed or whatever. Like just like the feeling of being free, of having my freedom of choice, and also to create my environment so it's suited to myself, to my needs. I'm still like, this is like my bread and butter for me. So what I actually did then is I started to become a coach, and I thought, yeah, maybe I'm going to be a coach for entrepreneurs, like a mindset coach, helping them with positive psychology. I actually called myself Happypreneur, but somehow it didn't land. It didn't land for the entrepreneurs, even though they need it actually, because they like entrepreneurs usually work a lot and don't take care about themselves so much. But somehow it didn't land. So it was kind of frustrating. And then I wanted to become something like a spiritual coach. I was calling myself conscious success coach, something like this. And I was a freelancer helping other coaches to become coaches. So I tried a lot of things, but none of it really land for me, and it really felt out of alignment for myself. Until last year. Last year was my a big pivot for myself. Like in the infamous 2020, I somehow stumbled upon chatbots. Actually, like I was having an experience with chatbots from someone else, and I realized how much fun they are, and I tried it out on myself, and And then I realized how much fun it is to create them. And then I realized, okay, I want to do this like for other people. And I just remembered how much I really like automation and human-computer interaction, like the system, like human technology, and helping these systems to work well. Yeah, that's something I really enjoy doing, and I feel that I'm made for this, and that I'm here to help this. So like in the end, I'm doing now something what I call authentic automation, and also it feels for me that I come full circle, and it feels right.
Yeah, and thank you for sharing your journey. And this is something that what I want to take from it for everyone is that sometimes you need to test things out. Like, is this for me? And then having also, because I know what you were talking about, like admitting like this is not really going anywhere and testing something else. It just takes some courage to say like, this is not any longer the path I want to walk. And then shifting to something new, and then doing it again and again until you found the thing that is your thing. Like I often talk about the one thing, like it's this magical moment when things start clicking. Like this is what I'm meant to do here, and this is how I can best utilize the skills that I have learned on the journey, and doing all the different things that just give different perspective. So if you are there thinking like, I need to nail it first go around, well, sometimes it happens. Sometimes you need to do some testing.
Yeah. And it feels like mostly like for most people, it doesn't happen like in the first round. Like it's so normal just like to pivot and to change.
Yeah, and having that courage and drive, because I think one thing there was like the entrepreneurship itself felt like that's your thing. And then it was just like, how can I help people with my gifts? And what do you think, like from your own personal journey, like what do you think was the key lesson that you learned through all those pivots and moments, like going on your journey, going this way, going that way? What was the lesson you learned through that experience?
I think the biggest lesson is that I learned how important it is to actually fully be yourself, to fully be authentic in what you do in your business. And I actually realized that, so like I was thinking about that I actually had like in my startup years, in the beginning years where it was so stressful, and so I was working a lot, and it was failing and those kind of things. I actually had like a very interesting moment of like a very interesting realization that in these years that I totally was estranged from myself, and I deviated so much from my true self. So I was finding myself in a thinking, like my whole cognition, my thinking was so focused on making money, on being in the startup world, on being like one of these hotshot startup founders with like millions of founding and whatever, like all those kind of things, and having like a huge loft office with hundreds of people. Like I was like so focused on this one thing, and I was totally intolerant against anyone who's not on the same path. And I was like having this moment and realizing myself, observing myself, what I'm thinking, and I think that's what am I doing here? Like that's not me. That's something is wrong. Something is like totally off. And I think that was so important for me, because I felt the entrepreneurial journey, or being an online business owner or whatever, like business owner, is for me, is meant for me. But I felt not in this way. It's not like I don't have to do it like others. It's like I have to find my own way. And somehow maybe that was, I didn't know it at that point, but looking back, I know that this situation, this realization was actually maybe the first, not the first, but it was like one of the major things in my journey to find my aligned business, like find my way. And yeah.
I think you touched something really common thing there. Like we have these things that we focus on, and sometimes they are like things that maybe it's not for us to create that thing. Like it's just we thought like that needs to be the goal. It might not even look like, but we think that's what we meant to want meant to want on our journey. And then finding a way like what's truly what is the vision for you. And that is unique, I believe, for everyone, like just finding the aligned way how we can do business, because that's when the magic starts happening, like you experienced, like things start just opening up different way when you are on that path. And let's now talk a little bit about the authentic automation. First of all, can you explain what does that mean if people are like, I tuned in because I'm curious. So can you give your definition? What does that mean?
Oh, do I have a definition? Yeah, but so like for me, authentic automation is actually finding automation. Like for me, of course, like I'm talking about business automation and marketing automation, and finding the right amount of automation that is aligned with your kind of personality. Because some people are like really thrive in a fully automated business where you don't have to do anything. It's possible, but that's not for everyone. And many people like think they want to have this, but in the end, maybe it's not right for your personality style. But because maybe you're actually a person who actually likes to talk with people one-on-one. But still, automation can help you to do things in the background, in the back end, like just like, for example, scheduling appointments, for example. You can do this manually, but you can do this using a tool. So you can have like a small amount of automation, but you can have like fully automation. And it's important to find your own way, like your own way of having things automated, like that it reflects your own personality. But then it's also authentic. So there's like being aligned, like resonating with the automation and finding the right automation for yourself. And the other part is focused on the business, and also especially the stage of business growth you're in. For example, in the beginning stages, focusing on having like a fully stacked funnel with all of the steps and Facebook ads and all those kind of things. It's not where you need to be right now. Like in the beginning, you need to focus on one-on-one connection, or maybe one to few connections, but usually one-on-one is the best way. For example, having a sales call, and the other things you can do and add later. So authentic automation is actually the focus on finding automation that is aligned with your personality and where you add it in your business. So this is like a good definition.
Yeah, that is, and I love that you also mentioned that where you are with your business. Because I do business coaching, so sometimes I help entrepreneurs and they have this, and of course it's thanks to a good marketing, they have the thought they need to have all these things in place before they get started, and they spend a lot of money getting all these kind of systems that might not be needed yet. So I love that you take that into account, and also the alignment there, like what level you will automate those things, because that's very unique, I think, because sometimes it's just this cookie cutter mode, like you just do this, but there seem to be like way to adjust the level of automation depending who you are and how you run your business.
Yeah, fully. And I just was thinking about what you were saying, that I think one of the biggest problems in the business and the marketing business is that there are so many coaches out there who are teaching things that are actually meant for people who have big lists. Like there are so many things that only work if you have a big list because of things like conversion rates. So there's a specific kind of conversion rates that that actually means that you need a huge list. But there are other options where you have higher conversion rates, for example, in sales calls. And this also that could work when you have like a smaller list, or maybe you don't have a list at all. But what many coaches out there are teaching are things, maybe even things they realized that they are successful now, and then they teach things at their level. But usually they don't tell, okay, this is like not meant for people in the beginning stages. So it's like, and that's why it's so confusing. If we start with running an online business, and then we meet all those big gurus having those big lists, and they are like super successful, earning millions in the launches, and you say, oh, but I don't, something is wrong with me. And but yeah, in the end, it's not. It's just like the alignment of systems. And
it's often a numbers game there in that level.
Really.
And because I have been having that conversation in my own mind, like, what? Like before realizing then really like the things and strategies needs to be adjusted to where you are with your business. And that way you can use the strategies that are meant where you are. And then you can, of course, grow into the different strategies, but that getting the result is needed to have the right strategies for the right moment. And I believe also you mentioned about the systems, like having the right level of systems in place or automations in place, depending where you are with your business. So if someone is now like, okay, automation, I am so overworked, working so many hours, automation sounds like this one thing that would help me. And they are like, where do they start? What would be a couple of things they need to consider before they start automating things? Is there something there that what's good to consider before automating?
Yes, there is that. Especially it's helpful if it's helpful if you already have some kind of experience with your business, and if you feel you get stuck, if you feel you're wasting a lot of time with things, if you see that you're having a lot of tasks that you do again and again and again, and usually for all of these tasks there is some kind of tool, some kind of automation. It's maybe even already accessible, or maybe it can be done somehow. And so if you find yourself working too much, or doing so many menial work, and actually you see, no, I don't want to do this. I actually want to focus on helping people. This is like a good point to start with automation. Like one of my own quotes is, always do your best, delegate and automate the rest. So like that's what my mission is, like to help especially coaches and consultants and course creators, that they should focus on the things they want to do and they are meant to be. And usually it's helping people, creating content that helps people, or having one-on-one conversations, coachings with people. Not all the other rest. Like there's so many that are either there are people or there's automation that can help you to save time and to save energy. Yeah, I think one way to do it, like to prepare it, is it's, for example, to look at it at a specific task, for example, to scheduling. Let's just do this and see what other steps you're already doing right now. So you realize which kind of step you need in part of an automation, or what is like your overall situation when you enroll someone, and just find all the steps that you're doing, and then see if there are things you can do to automate. Maybe there's like a one-on-all tool or maybe just like some little steps in between that can be automated.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, because it's a really good first step. Like, okay, just pay attention and make a list of things and seeing how often you repeat them. And if you see that you keep repeating them a lot and you don't want to do it, so maybe you want to reach out to Jonas and ask his help to get those things authentically automated, as he said, and seeing what systems you can put in place, because Jonas is really good. I love his brain, how he thinks so rationally, like things like, this is the way it logically works. So how can people, if someone is now there like, oh yes, please, I need help, how can people find more about you and your work? What's the best way for them to reach out?
Yeah, like one way, of course, is via my Facebook page and contacting me via PM or DMing me. And another way would be, especially for people who are interested in chatbots and messenger automation, which is like one of my main focuses right now. And in the end, chatbots are like just like pre-programmed conversations. Like it's you can put in there like a lot of human touch in those chatbots, and they can really be helpful and flexible to create. And if people want to try out how this could look like in functionality, but also how to create a chatbot that has personality, or maybe you can call it also a heart-centered chatbot, I would invite people to check out my chatbot quiz. It's like a fun quiz in Messenger of Facebook, of my Facebook page. And I think Katja put the link to the quiz in the descriptions or in the comments below. And yeah, it's usually people actually really enjoy doing this quiz, and it's really fun. And yeah, and then a little secret in the end, people get invited to book a call with me. So like if someone is interested in doing chatbots and then maybe wants to talk with me about it, they get an invite in the end, so they can schedule, and the chatbot will help them in the scheduling process.
Oh, so, I love that, because then they get an experience as well to see how it can work, and to seeing then like, testing it out first themselves, and then they can have a conversation with you to see what's possible for them. So I love that. And yes, I will put the link to the comments, so check it below, and do take Jonas on for that. Like, check out the quiz and test it out. How does it feel for you? And remember that it can be customized, like matching your personality type. And so just having a look, I will definitely check it out. I'm curious. And thank you so much for sharing that and offering that gift. And just wanted to know, as we are wrapping up here, do you have a special message that you would like to share?
Yes, I think just like getting back to my own path is how important it is to be open for pivots and iterations, and not only in your business, but also in your personal development and life. And for me, I always say like entrepreneurship is kind of a huge therapeutic experience. So you have to just readjust yourself, and you learn so much from yourself, and you can't hide. Like you have to put all the things in you that needs to be looked at. You have to take care of, and that's why just be open to pivots and iterations. And it's not failing; it's just like you fail forward and you learn new. It's always like development or personal development and entrepreneurial development is more like a spiral. So like just like be open to pivots, and it's going to be so much easier and fun also.
Yes, and having support, the right support, makes it even more easy. So if automation is something you have been considering or are considering now, reach out to Jonas and say like, hey, I saw you in the interview. Can you just have a chat with me, do the quiz and book that call? automate it there all the way, and then have the conversation to just check if that would support you on your journey, because that's the one thing I want to share with everyone, especially during these times. Like, you are not alone. There is support and help available. And it is that we are on this journey together, and we can support each others to succeed on purpose. So thank you so much, Jonas, for your time and all the work that you do in the world. And thank you for watching the Path to Purpose interview show. If you want more support on your journey, you can also join Lightworkers Who Succeed on Purpose Facebook group. And I'm sending you loads of light and love. Stay well and stay tuned for the next episode. Bye for now.